Ladies, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We are continuing our discussion around mental health this week, leading up to Bell Let's Talk Day. That's tomorrow. My next guest, RCMP Constable Peter Neily, was involved in a fatal shooting while on the job in Surrey, BC in 2011. That incident had serious health consequences on him, including PTSD and alcohol abuse. Constable Neily is joining us now from Ottawa. Thanks so much for being on our program.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Well, before we get into it, I just want to play for everyone a bit of RCMP dash cam video taken from that day that I just mentioned. We'll play that and come back to you and talk to you on the other side.
He pointed at me. Multiple shots fired. Shots fired. Members of the AR-15 were getting hurt. I'm out of my vehicle. I'm safe. He's still in his vehicle. The vehicle's pinned by my car.
Constable Neily, what happened that day?
It's first I'll say it's very difficult to hear that again. What happened that night was I was on a night shift. I was a general duty member in Surrey, British Columbia, where we're the municipal police out there. A vehicle had fled from a traffic stop in another part of the city, and myself, as well as some of my fellow colleagues, had ended up encountering that vehicle at a different intersection after it had fled. And ultimately, I was engaged in a lethal force confrontation with the driver, being the suspect, and tragically, the suspect ended up passing away that night.
And what happened to you after that night?
Well, at first, the first few days were very challenging. Obviously, I was dealing with a lot of pain from the incident, difficulty sleeping and whatnot. But then after that, I eventually went back to work. I had a lot of support from my colleagues and from management with the RCMP and whatnot, and I eventually got back to work, and I felt like I was doing fine. I went back to work on the road there in Surrey, and I was loving being back with my colleagues and my friends. And I then transferred to Ontario, to Cornwall, Ontario, and from there, a few months later, started to feel some of the effects of this incident coming almost what felt like out of nowhere. A lot of sleep disturbances, nightmares, and intrusive thoughts about the whole incident there. And one of the ways I started to deal with that inappropriately was to abuse alcohol to try and get some sleep, and I had a lot of trouble for a while there.
And did you come forward with what you were going through? Did you tell people about it and seek treatment?
At first I didn't. One of the things that I did was I tried to keep it from everybody, and I think the only people I wasn't successful at keeping it from was obviously my own family. I hurt them a lot during that time with some of the things that I was doing. And also it was starting to affect my work. I was very close to quitting. I felt like if I came forward and came out with these what I was going through and looked for help, I'd be labeled as being broken and no longer wanted, and I couldn't have been further from the truth. It just took a final step in the right direction to come forward, get some help, and once I did, then the help was there for me, and I've recovered back to being a fully operational police officer and a contributing member of Canadian society again.
Congratulations. That is so great to hear. And it strikes me as I speak to you that we are so not used to hearing from people in uniform, from police officers who put their lives on the line every day. I think many of us think you guys are prepared for just about anything, but you prove that you're people too.
Yeah, we are people, and the way I look at it is we're your soccer coaches. We're in your community. We're the parents that live next door. We're your neighbors. And these are difficult things that we sometimes have to deal with. And I think one of the things that kept me in hiding from these issues and getting the help that I needed was, the stigma around these problems. And so when I came out the other side of it and started feeling better, I realized that change needed to be made. We needed to change the way we talked about these issues and looked at them as a whole as society.
And do you find that people open up to you now?
I do. There are a lot of people that have come forward, but I also find that generally the tone of the discussion within the organization has completely changed. we're so supportive of each other, and we've improved leaps and bounds here. There's still a long way to go, but I think that's only natural. This is a lot of improvement that's happened in a short period of time. We've come around, and we've got programs now that are in place to educate other members and break down a lot of the stigma around these issues. So we're doing a lot better than we were, and I like to think that it's because of the fact that a lot of us have started coming out and talking about these issues openly.
Yeah, no one is immune to this. I really appreciate you talking with us today, RCM Constable Peter Neily, and continued success to you. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And a reminder that Wednesday, January 27th is Bell Let's Talk Day. Bell will donate 5 cents to support Canadian mental health programs for every text message, wireless and long-distance call made by Bell customers that day, or for every tweet using hashtag Bell Let's Talk and every Facebook share of the Bell Let's Talk Day image.